So hello everybody, this is Akash here. Welcome to my channel. In this video I am going to talk about the basics of GitLab. Okay, so let's go with the agenda. So the high level agenda for this meeting is what is GitLab, and then we are going to talk about the difference between the GitLab open source community edition versus the GitLab enterprise edition. So many people are actually confused that GitLab is a paid tool, but GitLab actually comes with the open source community edition as well, which actually has so many features involved within it. So you need not to even think of something which is in the enterprise edition. There are so many things which are already available in the community edition. Now we will also be discussing about GitLab setups and the installations, and then we are going to talk about creating a new project with GitLab, and last but not the least we are going to see that how do we import any existing GitHub repositories, or not only GitHub repositories, any Git repositories, either it is in Bitbucket or Mercurium or Perforce or GitHub, anything. So for example, if your organization is trying to migrate from existing Git repositories to GitLab, we will see that how easily or how swiftly we can import the existing repository to the GitLab repositories. Okay, so that's all about the high level agenda. So what is GitLab? So GitLab is a service that provides remote access to Git repositories. Okay, so this feature is quite similar to all other SCM providers like GitHub, Bitbucket, Perforce, Mercurial, everything. Okay, so it is quite similar to all of those tools. So just in short, Git is a version control management system which handles history of changes and several versions of your code. Okay, so if you want to manage your code changes and if you want to keep the track of your code changes, you should use Git version control management tool. And if you want to handle it in a remote place, we need to handle it with a code hosting platforms like GitLab, GitHub, and any other source code management tools. Okay, so this is a main advantage. This is the main purpose of using any of the source code management system. GitLab also supports that. Now, so the second point is GitLab CI is also a continuous integration server that's built right into the GitLab. Okay, so in addition to hosting your code, GitLab service also provides you an additional feature that helps you in managing your software development lifecycle. So this is the main feature which actually stands out GitLab from all other source code management products. So if you are using GitLab, we don't need to separately use the CI servers like Jenkins or any of the other tools commonly used tools like TeamCity or Circle CI. Instead, we can use this continuous integration and the build capability feature that's actually built right inside the GitLab. Okay, so GitLab can help you in doing your build activity, test activity, and also it will help you in deploying your code into the GitLab itself. So in short, with GitLab, we don't need multiple tools for code management and also the continuous integration. GitLab handles all of it inside. Okay. So GitLab actually has a very good bug tracking mechanism. With GitLab, you can actually create tickets similar to what Jira does for you. So I guess Jira is one of the most famous bug tracking tool available in the market right now. So with GitLab, actually you can do this as well, but this is not a free option available right now. So to use this feature, you have to go with the enterprise edition feature of GitLab. Okay, so with this feature, you can actually create tasks, you can comment on a task, and you can also close them all at once automatically or manually. So just take an example of, for example, if you create a merge request or pull request with GitLab, and if that pull request failed, okay, so normally in the real-time scenario, we create a Jira ticket. With that failure, we have to update the link of the GitLab, I mean the path of the repository and the merge request version and all those things we have to provide in the ticket. Here in this case, you can actually create a ticket right in front of you with the log itself. From the log, you can just create a ticket. So it will have all the data on where exactly, what is the history of that ticket. So you need not to provide so many details while creating tickets in the GitLab bug tracking mechanism. Okay, so this is actually an enterprise edition feature, but it's a good to know feature. Now, let's understand about the second thing, that is difference between open source community edition and enterprise edition. So let's go to the GitLab. Okay, GitLab pricing Just go to GitLab pricing and you can see the first link over here. Okay, so this is the place which I was talking about in the beginning, that the difference between community edition and the enterprise edition. So we have only one community edition, that is the first one, that is free. So you can actually develop with a team of any size. Okay, it is all free. You can see that there are $0 per user per month, so you need not to pay anything for this. And then we have, for the enterprise edition, these are the three flavors we have. We have bronze, silver and gold. Now let's see what is the difference between all these versions. So with the free version, it actually, you can use the DevOps lifecycle as well. So you don't have to worry about any of the DevOps features, DevOps capabilities which GitLab comes with. You can use all of them for free. Okay, so you can actually bring your own CI runners. So runners are nothing but, I can probably take a separate session to talk about the CI feature of GitLab. Okay, so but in short, CI runners are nothing but the agents in TeamCity or the nodes, the master slave, so slaves in Jenkins. Okay, so CI runner will help you in running your build and test or deploy in a virtual environment. Okay, so and you can bring your own production environment. So if you want to have your own production environment, you can use that as well. And the last one is that there are 2000 CI/CD minutes. So this 2000 CI/CD minute, you don't have to worry about it. So for example, by default GitLab runners are being installed if you use GitLab, and if you want to use their own runner, there is a limit for 2000 minutes, but you can create your own runners with your own machines as well. So when you create your own runners, there are no limits involved as such. Okay, so you can use as much as possible when you have your own runners. Second is the bronze. Most of the features are same. So the first thing is the single project management. So this is what I was talking about, so the bug tracking mechanism similar to Jira. So you can create, so Jira also has something called as project management, where you can create a project, and inside that project you can create multiple tasks. For example, developers can create a project for development team, and inside that they can create tasks, they can create capacity planning, all those things they can do. But with the bronze plan, you can create only one project. Okay, and you can actually have more control over the code. That is something which is generic, so you can do that with the free plans as well. And you'll also have that next business day support. So any issue which comes with GitLab, you will get a 1-day support with the GitLab officials. And it is also coming with the 2000 CI/CD minutes, but again with this plan also you can have your own runners. Now with the silver and gold plan, in silver plan compared to the bronze plan, you can create multi-project, and you can actually create multiple projects in GitLab. So similar to what we do in Jira, we can have multiple projects over here, and inside that, with all the projects, all the tasks can be managed for that particular project. And it also comes with this code integrity controls. Okay, so you might have heard of SonarQube, Fortify, Black Duck. So all these tools are being used for the source code scanning and the third-party scannings for your code to be validated further for production. But here in the case of GitLab, if you are taking the enterprise edition, especially this plan, that is silver plan, you will get this feature within GitLab itself. You need not to actually install or integrate SonarQube server or Fortify or Black Duck with GitLab. You can use their in-house code integrity solution, code integrity control solutions. Okay, and then we have another feature called as multi-region support. So this is a very good feature. For example, if GitLab has its data center available in India, and all your code is being updated in the India server, and it is also updated somewhere in San Francisco if you stay in US. So for example, if I try to clone that code from the India region, for example, right now I stay in Bangalore, if I try to pull the code from the Bangalore region, it will pull from the nearest available region from the GitLab, and that will take, actually my code will be cloned faster than cloning it from some other location. So with this plan, you can actually have the multi-region support as well. And then we have the priority support. Again, this is similar to the next day business support, that if you go with this plan, they will always give you priority for any issues in GitLab. And with this silver plan, you will get 10,000 CI/CD minutes. Okay. And I mean, so the similar kind of features are there in Gold as well, that you will have company-wide portfolio management, and then you can have additional application security, you can have more security features over here, and then you will have compliances automation, and you can have free guest users. So this is something, these are additional features for all the paid plan. And with the Gold plan you can have 50,000 CI/CD minutes. So all these features are there. So that's actually a basic difference from the core plan, that is your free plan, with all the premium plans. Okay, so the community edition versus the enterprise edition. Okay, so far we have seen that what is GitLab, and then the difference between community edition and the enterprise edition. Now let's go and see that how do we set up and install GitLab. So let's do register. Click on register. Okay, so it says that I have already signed in, so let me sign out. Okay, so if you want to create your account, you have to click on this register new after going to gitlab.com. Just click on register now. After that you have to provide your details like your first name and last name. Create a username, because not every time you will be using your email address to clone any repositories, or while pushing any code you will be needing a username. So create any username of your choice. Then provide your company email address and the password which of your choice. Check these options and then say register. I'll not be doing this because I have already registered. After registering you will get an email to confirm your GitLab account. After that you will be asked to sign in for the first time. Let's sign in. Just provide your username and password. All deny. Okay, not now. So you are now signed in. So it is asking you to create a free trial with the Gold feature. I don't need it now. I mean, it says that you can actually use all the capabilities of GitLab for 30 days for free, and there are no credit card required. I don't need this feature because I feel that the free plan itself has so many features within inside. Now when you get this page, these are the options you are coming with. Okay, so you can actually go here and see the you can have your account details here, and all this profile you can see the settings over here about the billing part and all these things. So we will see in details about the SSH keys, GPG keys in some other session. For this session we are going to see that how do we create any project. So in this page you can see that we have an option of create a project or create a group. So either you can create a project or you can create a group, and inside the group you can create multiple projects. So the benefit of creating a group is that you can just assign access for a person to this group, and he will be getting all the project access which is inside the group. But with the project you have to give the access of a project one by one. So that's the only difference. So in any enterprise people manage group, and then inside the group they create projects. So I'm just going to create a project directly. And yeah, you can also explore public projects. So if you go inside, there are so many public projects which are available with GitLab. So all these are open source public projects, so none of these are private, so you can use any of these. Now if I go back, let's create a project. So I'll probably create a blank project. So these are the options which we have while creating a project. You can create a blank project just like a scratch project, or you can create a project from a template. So this template is nothing but, for example, in any of the organization, if you have multiple development teams, so for any new development team they have to start from the scratch. So instead of they starting it from the scratch, you create a template for them. For example, if your application code has the all the templates involved, I mean there are several things which are involved while creating any application. Okay, so for example, you have libraries, you have testing, you have scannings. So while creating any template, you can actually create all the templates which can be used further for any of the product teams for creating things from the scratch. So we will not be using this. We will just say create a blank project, and I will just say my awesome project. don't give a space. Okay, let's give a space. So my project name is My Awesome Project. I'll just give a description. This is my sample demo project, and there's something called as visibility level. Either you can keep it private or public. For this session I'm going to keep it as public. We will see a separate session on how do we create a private repository and how do we manage that. Okay, so let's initialize a repository with a readme file, then create a project. After creating the project, you can see over here that our project is being initialized, and all these things are over here. So let's now clone this particular repository in your local, and let's see that how do we change this particular repository. So I have VS Code over here. Okay, so just do git clone and the name of the repository. So you'll be able to clone your repository, and then you do My Awesome Project. You'll be able to see this. If you want to open that project over here, just say file, open, go to your workspace. Probably I'll go back, and we have My Awesome Projects over here, right? So now if you do ls-al, you can see all the files, the hidden files as well, the .git file. So the .git file is being created while initializing the project in the GitLab itself. Now if I'll just do a touch of a new file, Akash, and the git status is the command to see the status in your current file system. So you can see all the untracked files which is there in your local. So with git add dot, we can see that now if you do a git status, you can see that we are trying to add, and now it is actually there in the branch. Okay, so only thing is there, we need to commit and push it in our GitLab repository. So we do git commit -m new version change. Okay, so that just do a new version, new file creation change. Okay, just do git push, and with this particular git push, if you see over here, if you refresh this page, the file is over here. So that's how actually you can create a project. Now I mean, you can do a lot of things. You can create multiple branches and all those things. So we'll see, I mean, we will take this particular part in the later part of the video, or we can just see how we can create branches over here. Let's see that if you do git branch, just do git checkout -b is the command to create a branch and check out to that branch. Okay, so git checkout -b, and then let's say feature 1. So if you do git branch, now we can see that we are inside the feature 1 branch, and you can see the file part over here itself. Okay, so if you just go to Akash, and if I just say echo, this is the change for feature branch, I'll just redirect it to Akash. So you can see over here that the branch changes are also populated over here, that this particular change has been done to the feature branch. Now if you want to see the status of this particular branch, you can see that there is a file which has been modified, that is Akash, because we have just added some text to it that this is a change for feature branch. If you just do git add dot and do git commit -m new branch changes, do git push origin and then feature 1, So you have to actually provide that where exactly you want to push it. So the origin for this change is feature 1. We just want to push it to feature 1. Okay, so if you go back to the GitLab now, you can see over here that we have a master file, and in this particular file there are no changes, but when we change to the second branch, that is feature 1, so this is a change, this is a change for feature branch. And if you go back here, you can see that if you just do a git checkout to master, you can see over here at the top that this branch doesn't have that change, and that's the reason this changes has been vanished. The moment we'll move to git checkout feature 1, these changes will come up. Okay, so that's how you can actually manage your code locally, as well as the same changes if you want to manage in the repository in the common place, that is in the GitLab. You can do like that. Now I'm going to show you. So far we have seen that how do we set up and install, and then how we will create a new sample project in GitLab. Now let's see that how do we import any existing Git repositories to GitLab. So in any of the enterprise, many people are using other repositories as well, like GitHub and or Perforce or Mercurium or Bitbucket, but many teams are actually moving to GitLab. So we also have to understand that how do we migrate your existing code from any other repository to GitLab. So let's see that. Just go back to your parent page. So first of all, let's delete this particular project. I'll also show you that how do we delete it. So go to your repository, and over here in the left hand side, go to settings, and inside the setting, go to advanced section, and after that in the last we have this remove project option. Just click on remove project, and over here, just for the confirmation, it will ask you to write the project name over here. Just say confirm, and your project will be deleted. Okay, so let's go back here again, and this time we are going to see that how do we import projects from other providers, other source code management providers. So just select import project, and here we have this list of options. So you have other GitLab projects as well. So if you want to include any projects from any other GitLab host, you can take it from there as well, or if you want to import anything from the GitHub, Bitbucket Cloud as well as server, or you want to take it from Google Code, the other tools like Fogbugs or Git.ia. I have not even heard of it, but you can do it from there as well. So if any of the source code management tool is not being updated over here like code commit or any other tool, you can always pull it from the repo. Okay, so you can just provide a URL and you will be able to import with that. So for this scenario, I'm going to use GitHub because I have my project available in GitHub. You can use any of these. So first of all, after clicking over there, you have to authenticate with GitHub. Just click on authenticate, and over here you have to provide your GitHub you have to provide your GitHub details. So just provide your, so I have my fingerprint already available, so just click on that and to sign in. So once you do that, you will see that all your projects which are already there in GitHub available over here. So if you want to see that, just go to my projects, that is GitHub. Okay, so this is my project, this is my GitHub project, and over here I have all these repositories. There are 19 repositories, right from Maven, all these things are over here. So all these projects which are based on my authentication, all these projects are now listed in GitLab. So if you want to import any of these, for example, now I'll be importing Blue Green deployment demo. Just say import, so after importing, it will take some time. Okay, so it is now done. Go to your project and you can see that now your project is available in GitLab. So this is the project which was there in GitHub and it is available. It is being successfully imported to GitLab. So all these files came along with the history. So if you want to see the history of this, you can see the commits. So you can see over here that it came with all the history which was being maintained with GitHub. So if you don't want to have these history, there is another way to import it. Let's go to my local. Okay, so I'll probably just go back to the previous step. These are the list of repositories. For example, let's take an example of Maven modular, and if I want to add this repository in GitLab without the history, how will I do that? So just do git clone. So this will make a local copy in my local file system. Just do git cd maven modular. So these are the list of files. So if you do ls-al, you can see all the files along with the hidden files. So there are two files over here, that is .gitignore and .git. So if you go to .gitignore, let's see what is there. So .gitignore is the file which has all the files which you want to ignore. So we need this file. Okay, so this file is very much needed. But if you want to go back to another file, that is another folder, no, not this one, Maven modular. So if you want to see, there is another folder that is .git. Just go to this particular folder, .git. Now if you do ls-al, so these are the list of files it has. So just take an example of index. If you just see the index, you can see that these are all the files and the history changes which is managed inside Git. Okay, so if you want to create a separate if you want to import this particular project without maintaining the history of GitHub, just do rm-rf for the .git folder. Okay, so now we have deleted the history file, that is .git, and now this particular project doesn't have any Git initialization as such. So this project is a normal plain project. It doesn't have any version control mechanism involved in it. Okay, so for that we have to do git init. So git init will initialize Git in this project. So if you do ls-al, you can see that .git is now being added newly to this particular project. Just take any of the project from the GitLab. For example, if you go back, I'll create an empty project, Maven modular, and this is going to be a public project. Just do git remote. Now do git push, and another command is git push if you go back here and do a refresh, so you can see that all those files are here and it will not have the history of your GitHub. Just go to commits, you'll not be able to find any history. So that's how you can actually manage to import any other projects to GitLab without even having the history of those changes, history of the changes of the file. Okay, so this is all about GitLab. Okay, so far we have seen that what is GitLab and the difference between GitLab C versus Enterprise Edition. We have also seen about the setup and installation. So there is no setup and installation as such. All you need to do is register, and you can play around with GitLab UI. Then we also saw that how do we create any new project with GitLab. We saw the ways to import existing Git repository to GitLab, either from the GitLab UI, or if you want to import any existing project without maintaining the history, you can do that as well. So that's all for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.